Hey, good evening, everybody. So we got perfect natural evening lighting here, and I might run and turn off the air conditioning so we get a little bit better sound. But everybody share this link. Going to be a big live stream. I'll be responding to people in the comment box. Really a Q&A. Want to provide some time to make sure everybody's on the same page, and to also update you on what Inner Signal is working on, my startup of the last year. I still own and invest in Fulcrum. That's one of our legacy brands, legacy news brand, but certainly the last year has been focused on our new company, Inner Signal. So happy to answer any questions as they come in. And if not, I have a bit of a laundry list of things to get through, because I love keeping the audience updated, and I get a lot of positive emails from people who appreciate that I put time into this channel. Certainly at 40 years of age, now 40, I've got other stuff going on, but I enjoy the channel, and I feel like rather than doing stuff, in private, I'd rather explain what we're doing, since it's kind of at the forefront of technology, as crypto was many years ago. So let's get those numbers up. I'm going to turn off the AC, and I'll be right back. Hi there. So you did set them up. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Okay. All right. I'll do that. All right. Thanks. Well, you guys get the numbers way up, and ask whatever you want in the comments. I'll be right back. All right, I am back. Let's get the numbers up. I'm going to, how do I share a link to this? I want to tweet it out so we can reward you guys for your patience. Make sure this is a huge live stream. Am I smart enough to share this? There we go. All right. Nvidia. All right, here we go. Just going to tweet out from my personal account so even more people watch this. We'll truly get started. And I don't see any questions in the comments. Feel free to. Breaking news here. Lawmakers voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi to testify about the investigation of a certain Jeffrey. The vote marked a rare case of a Republican-led panel compelling a member of the president's cabinet to testify. So we'll talk about that stuff, but mainly this is going to be a tech discussion. I'm going to do a little show and tell here because suddenly the technologies that I've spent the last year talking about, people have thought somewhat speculatively, they're now the technologies that are needed to win in this seemingly overnight war against Iran and its misguided allies. All right. So those tweets have gone out. So the main idea here is that the whole current setup of AI is kind of flawed. It's a consequence of happenstance that NVIDIA GPUs can run ChatGPT like large language models at all. It's a good thing that happened, that in time and space, we already had chips that could run AI when AI was invented. Obviously, chicken and egg problem, you need both. You need competent hardware and you need the crazy software. So when I say crazy software, the way an AI thinks is quite different from how you and I think, to say the least. But what it outputs is certainly intelligent. So when they say artificial intelligence, that's kind of a misnomer. It's kind of a misclassification. And back in the day, the term that smart people at universities and at places like Bell Labs and IBM, the term they had for this was cybernetics, which is much more, I think, on brand, kind of Terminator, humanoid, cybernetics. And then there's this, you can read the actual, Wikipedia entry or whatever, but there's this falling out between two intellectuals. And basically one professor wanted to snub another professor. He didn't want to use his term cybernetics anymore for a new conference. And so he comes up with the term artificial intelligence, and it's stuck. But it's just not really accurate because the intelligence part is real. The smartness beyond a certain number of parameters appears to be quite real. So the intelligence is genuine. What's not genuine, what's artificial, is it's being produced by computers, not by a biological brain. But that's, again, misleading because the output is real. It is intelligent output. And so if you think of something like a bowling alley, just think of the concept of a bowling alley as a human being, or even better, let's think of a beach. Just think of going to the beach as a human. You might think of like seagulls or lounging on a beach chair or looking at the ocean or drinking a beer if you're an adult. These are all kind of normal beach memories, or maybe, throwing a volleyball around and having a good time. But for the AI, it goes, okay, beach, human social networking place, human social vacation spot, fast food, hot dogs, cheeseburgers, fast food, seagulls, bird species, oceanic atmosphere stuff. It creates this lattice, this kind of real-time lattice of vectorized thought, of mathematical thought. So we think of large language models as thinking in language. They really think in math. Their weights and stuff are all just mathematical values. And it's kind of gradient. There's a kind of gradient descent when it thinks about something. And again, it's quite different from how a human brain works. And it's about 60 million times faster than how fast we compute locally in our brains. And yet the way that we have AI today is a little flawed because it's huge multi-billion-dollar data centers running glorified graphics cards and then spitting the answer back out at us. But our actual device isn't smart. The device itself is not that intelligent. It's going to, again, this modern miracle, these hybrid data centers that are, networking hundreds of thousands of GPUs at once to produce this super intelligent output. And Iran has shown us that's all flawed now, because with one or two cheap drones, they're able to take out a whole data center. We need to decentralize intelligence. And this is stuff I've been talking about for the last year, from kind of a competitive place and from a place of we want this to grow in a good way. We don't want it to be really negative for everybody. There are a number of path dependencies where AI goes in a bad direction, and we don't want those. We don't want one or two companies or people to own the whole thing for obvious reasons. And now we see that's not the only problem. The other problem is these things are vulnerable. So we need millions of chips everywhere if we want a truly intelligent modern age, which most people want. Most people do want this super intelligent stuff. I need to sell shirts. I'm not selling shirts at the moment, but link in description has my Substack if you guys want to get my emails. Everybody add your email address. Again, link in description. And certainly appreciate the people who've paid for the premium version of my Substack. You certainly don't have to do that. But the 100 or 200 people who've done that, I appreciate it, and I will reward you later in the year with some exclusive content, some exclusive thoughts, and maybe a couple of interviews, a couple little podcasts that will only be accessible to the paid subscribers. But already you get benefits. If you're one of the paying people over on Substack, you get to see all the past paywalled stuff, and you also get to comment. I've locked the comments down for a long time now to just people who pay. And obviously not everything in life is economic or capitalist. There are things like Burning Man you can go to where, it's a barter economy. But even then, you got to offer something of value if you want something from a stranger. It's just not money at Burning Man. It might be, a tent or bottles of water or something. I don't know. I've never been. The point is, for most of the world, we live in a world of money and a world of sacrifice in terms of if you want something, you have to give something up. And I found there's no better filter for the comment section than somebody paying a little bit of money. And the same with the content I put out, the research I put out. I would much rather give my absolute best couple of interviews this year and my absolute best few pages of original deep thinking on reality and technology. I would rather give that to, say, 200 or 500 or at most 1,000 people who are paying me and have therefore sacrificed and done a kind of handshake. I'd rather give that to them than to just thousands of drive-by tourist strangers. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and certainly like 95% of our content goes out for free. But again, I found no greater filter at 40 years of age than even if it's a small amount of money. Once somebody hands you any amount of money, they no longer see you as a hobbyist. They actually want to hear from you, right? You're no longer somebody just spamming them with ideas. So again, I'd much rather reach that smaller focused audience that really cares about what we're doing than thousands of people who don't really care. And that's not an economic decision. It's purely one of convenience for me and frictionlessness. Right? I don't want content being put out and going to the wrong people. This isn't the Super Bowl, right? I'm not going to do a Super Bowl commercial talking about the stuff I talk about on Substack because there's no point. These things are for the right people. And that's not to say we're gating what we're putting out. Anybody with an email address can get it. An email address and a credit card can get it. But again, I'm not for the whole world. I've learned that at this age. I think that's actually a good thing. But the AI developments have been pretty amazing. I think this is 1,000 times more important than crypto. And people ask me, what do I think of crypto these days? I think the blockchain is just a very quaint, very insignificant technology development compared to what AI is growing into. Very simplistic thing there. It's like saying to me, what do I think of Adobe Photoshop? It's like, Photoshop is great, but so what, right? Like, it's just one program you use to edit photos. I don't think that's the future of media. And in much the same way, the blockchain is great for certain transactions on the internet, and in theory was good for tipping and stuff. But now you got AIs that are so super intelligent that, again, think 60 million times faster than us and can track all these subtle vectors that you and I are completely unaware of. And so that bakes in a level of security. And then you'll have big AI systems just managing your money. So if you use Google Gemini or if you use ChatGPT, you'll just say, hey, send great live stream I watched of David's, send David $50. Done. That's the future, and we all know it. It's not QR codes. It's not waiting 10 minutes for the right number of blockchain confirmations to roll in. It's not worrying about copying and pasting your address wrong, and then you send $1,000 to the wrong person, and your rent isn't paid on time. We all know that's the past. That's not the future. The future, again, is, hey, Siri, pay my rent. Done. It's that smart. Maybe not Siri, but certainly all the other systems. It really is that smart. And so what we've identified is that just building data centers everywhere, even as Elon Musk talks about in space, it's not the answer. It's still a data center. It's still billions of dollars of centralized compute, when instead every single device should do its share of the computation. And this is an idea that every early Bitcoin user and every early Ethereum participant should vibe with. It should totally vibe with the idea of edge AI, local inference versus paying some huge company 1,000 miles away to do the AI computing for you. And obviously, when you go out to the cloud, you're giving them all your info. If you're a business, if you're a law firm, if you're a journalist covering really contentious stuff, do you want to do that? Does that make sense? Or do you want your own device that can think intelligently locally without spewing everything back to the cloud? And then, of course, giving it to whatever surveillance operates in the middle, which we know exists thanks to people like Snowden. So when you're talking to your AI in the cloud, you're also talking to others. And we'll leave it there. But anybody smart enough knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, happy to take any questions or comments. Is DDR5 the new crypto? I don't think any one memory format is the path to success. I think instead, whole architectures and whole companies that are building new ways for AI to compute, that's the future. So DDR5 is just one standard of RAM, and it's obviously useful for high-end gaming computers, where there's this overlap. I think the overlap is going to go away pretty soon. You're already seeing that. You're seeing chips being made just for AI, chips that aren't trying to cannibalize the video game market, but are actually being built, from scratch to do things like run an LLM or run a kind of search and target system. So again, happy to take any questions or comments here. The main link would be the Substack. Appreciate that so many people are already in contact over email. And you certainly don't have to get the premium version, but if you want to comment, that is, again, the filter that we've established, because it just works. I'm not a volunteer in a sense. I put value into what I put out there, and I'm happy to put out, again, most of it for free, but if you want to leave comments and be seen by my whole audience, not here, that's for free, obviously, but over on my publication, if you want to be a part of that publication, you have to pay a little membership fee, or whatever Substack calls it. Yeah, full circle on all the Epstein stuff. It's another topic that we got right. And long lead time on that one, 10 years. 10 years. But now former Prince Andrew has been charged, as well as this guy Mandelson in the UK. Not yet anybody in the US, although we had Hillary and Bill Clinton testify just last week. So things are coming to a head slowly but surely. And again, just another thing that we were right about. Just another case of our pattern recognition being good, especially now that we have multiple AIs that we consult with, as well as a human team. I think I get things right more often than not. And our biggest couple of local AI systems, they were saying to me for months that they thought silver was going to double. And I was not a big silver bug at the time. was not on my radar at all. I was still in the like final throes of like in crypto. And they kept saying silver is not yet doubled, but they thought it was going to, our local AIs that we have set up and running all the time. And so they're just so confident about it that we made some investments in silver and silver mining companies. And from that point, silver at its height had tripled. So from where we got in to at the height where we sold some, obviously not all, the price of silver had actually tripled. And that's purely the result of being a startup that's chattering all day with AIs that we have spun up here. That's mind-blowing to me. And that's the simplest opportunity we've come across. There are more complex opportunities that they've identified. But just to give you an idea, again, it said, it's not yet doubled, it's not yet doubled, and then it triples. And that's not to say that everything they come up with is correct. It's part of what we're building is a system where these different AIs can check each other, kind of digital checks and balances. But yeah, I think as the Epstein stuff gets worse, aside from the war, that's another reason why you need all this edge AI. You need a system that you can ask a question to, and it'll give you a truthful answer without being censored and without you being cataloged as oh, this is a person who's really interested in this stuff, right? If things get really corrupt and weird, you should be able to ask all these questions and have it analyze the Epstein emails and stuff for you with no ability for you to face any consequences. And that's what local AI allows for, is you load it on your own computer, you run it, and you ask it what you want. And it's very deterministic in that sense because it's already programmed. It's not really evolving with you, but it's access to something that's not surveilled and that can't be tuned later to give you BS answers. And so that's why we spent so much time early on trying to get you guys to get into local AI systems, and even wrote a little ebook about it, about how to install these things on your laptop. And yeah, how did I become 40? You just wake up every day. It's guaranteed to happen to all of you if it hasn't yet. You'll be 40 one day, wondering where did all the time go? Well, for 8 years I was heavily censored, but other than that, time goes fast. Time does go fast. I have a question. I'm a fan of yours from day one, yet you're almost a secret. Promote your brand, do shows, but cool ones. You guys can tell people that there's a YouTube channel here. You can share this stuff on Reddit or Facebook. I don't get invited on any shows. It's weird. The people who deleted me years ago aren't yet barking up my tree. And if they did, I don't know if I'd say yes. I don't know if I would say yes to people who tried to silence me for almost a decade. I don't know if they deserve that when I already have a big channel. Even if it's slower, people can come over here. And then when I do an interview, it can be on my own terms with somebody I actually find interesting instead of somebody I find dumb, Somebody says they used to watch me religiously about 10 years ago. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, the war over there is certainly heating up fast. Came out of nowhere. I feel like it was just overnight. Actually, I was, surprised it was my birthday weekend when this went down. Kind of weird timing there. My birthday weekend, the 6 planets aligned. The war starts. I mean, I don't want to read too much into it. I don't think I'm like John Connor 2.0 or anything. Don't want to read too much into it. But certainly, we live in interesting times. I think there's a need for journalists who aren't these weird kind of affected people. And I see more of these affected people. I don't know if it's the algorithms or the economics that are causing it, but it's like on X, on former Twitter, you have these accounts that are just professional engagement farmers. They're doing it to make money because they get paid by the view. X actually pays them. They get paid by the view, and so they're posting all these videos that are just kind of weird rage bait that they pull from TikTok. They see something does well on TikTok, they very cynically pull it over to X. Then you got some like finance accounts that are just know-it-alls, just these weird loser know-it-alls. And you all know which accounts I'm talking about. They have like millions of followers, and they're just losers. They're like, oh, looks like Jane Street just invested $1 billion in silver. Does Jane Street know what it's doing? Or like they'll do that with Jamie Dimon. Does Jamie Dimon have any idea what he's doing? Hey, don't worry about Jamie. Even if the economy were to lose 99% of its value, he would still be set. So don't worry about Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan Chase. Worry about yourself. And again, these accounts act like they're such know-it-alls. It's so obnoxious. Like after something happens, they know it. It's like, where were you beforehand to tell us? Oh, you knew the war was coming? Why didn't you do a tweet on Friday before the market closed? If you were so fucking certain that war was coming that weekend, why didn't you make your whole audience rich and tell us? Oh, that's right, because you're a bunch of LARPers. So that's what we have as media leaders now, right? They say you are the media. The downside of that is most of these people don't even live in the US, and they're total engagement farmer LARPers. And the ones who do live here are not much better. They operate under the same principles, which is to make money off of pissing you off and acting smarter than the rest of us. Like they know what's going to happen, but they, for some reason, never tell us ahead of time. They're full of shit. So new media, just as compromised as the old media, just in different ways, less structurally compromised and more individually, because most journalists are not rich people. Most journalists are desperate for money. And it's something that seems to scale over time, which it shouldn't. Most careers, if you have a certain base of stability, you shouldn't become hungrier. You should become less so, right? Obviously, if somebody had a doctor who was super hungry for business, you wouldn't want to go to that doctor, you know? So journalism, for some reason, operates under these different principles where you almost have to be some Bruce Wayne to even do it right. And that's unfortunate, you know? But unless there are any other questions, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you guys again. And watch the most recent short, those vertical videos, watch the most recent one. I try to do one of those every weekday, unless I'm traveling. Do one every weekday, kind of a rapid cadence. They're usually only a minute or two. And I think that's a good format. I don't like doing long podcasts anymore. I don't think anybody has the time for hour-long podcasts talking about something unless it's a special guest. I think this format works. The occasional live stream with you all, the email updates, and the daily weekday vertical videos. I think it really works. Thank you guys again.